everyone, welcome. Today I am answering a question that I get a lot, especially this time of year and also during breeding season. And that is, I get these questions on social media, through email, on the website. People just say, do you recommend that I give my goats all a shot of BoSe? That's BoSe, and it's an injectable selenium supplement. And the answer is, if you've been following me for a while, say it with me. It depends. I don't recommend BoSe for all goats because not all goats need it. Now, a lot of times in here, it says my area is selenium deficient. So again, it depends. One of the things that you need to know before deciding whether you use BoSe, and actually BoSe is like a last resort. If you know you have a problem with selenium deficiency in your herd, then BoSe is a last resort. For one thing, they pee out 40% of it in 24 hours. So it's not a long-term solution. It actually helps the goat for a very short period of time. So it's not a good solution if you truly do have a legitimate selenium deficiency problem in your herd. And I keep saying in your herd because your herd may be different than somebody down the road. So just because the person down the road says that they have to give their goats BoSe injections doesn't mean you have to. So selenium is deficient in all soil in the US unless you are like right smack in the middle, the Dakotas and then the areas around them. So people in like Nebraska, Kansas, they're going to be questionable. They're probably okay, but the Dakotas tend to be quite high in selenium. And then the states, the borders next to them, it doesn't just cut right off. So like Montana on the part closer to the Dakotas is going to have problems, but when you get farther west, not so much. And when I say problems, I mean problems with like very high levels. So I've also gotten, people in the Dakotas, what I get from them is emails that say, I can't, I have to have my hay tested so that I don't kill my horses with selenium toxicity. Do I need to worry about my goats? And generally the answer to that is no, because horses are more sensitive to selenium toxicity than goats are. So I've not actually ever heard of any goats that wound up with selenium toxicity simply from eating the hay or pasture in the area. So the thing so there's multiple reasons why the answer about should you use BoSe is it depends. So let's just assume for now, we are not talking about people that live in the Dakotas and the surrounding areas. We are talking about all parts of the United States that have soil that is deficient in selenium. What every goat does need is a really good free choice mineral. The only two minerals that are nationally available that I recommend are Sweetlix Meat Maker and Purina Goat Minerals. And I am talking about the loose minerals. I almost died once when somebody contacted me. Their goats had obvious signs of deficiency. And they said, well, we're using the Purina block, just like you said. And I almost fell off my chair. I never, ever, ever recommend blocks because they are not, so loose minerals only. There's two reasons for this. One, goats have very small, soft tongues, so they can't get enough off of a block. The irony is so many people see their goat licking a block all day and they think, oh, they really love it. This is the best for them. They don't see them with a loose mineral. So they think, oh, they're not consuming the loose mineral. Well, if you look at the bag on the loose mineral, they're only supposed to consume about 1/4 to 1/2 ounce a day. So you will probably never see them consuming it. And if you do, you'll see like one quick lick and that's it, maybe a couple, once every couple weeks. So don't think like, oh, my goats don't eat the minerals. They just eat the block. And because licking the block all the time means they're not getting what they need. So they're constantly licking it. Number two reason why I don't recommend blocks, and not even the Purina block. And it really makes me mad that they even sell it, because if you look at the nutritional analysis, loose Purina goat minerals have 50 ppm selenium. The block has 1 ppm selenium. That's it, just 1. So how is a goat ever going to get enough selenium from a block when it has 1 ppm selenium in it? The answer is they're not. And if you look at the rest of it, it's because it's mostly salt. So that is not what you need. You need loose minerals. And if you can't find the Purina loose goat mineral or the Sweet Licks meat maker in your area, then look at the other loose minerals and see if you can find one that has 50 ppm selenium in it. I do not recommend Mana Pro because it only has 12 ppm. If you've got Weathers, that's fine. Weathers are very easy keepers. But for breeding animals where you really see problems with minor selenium deficiencies, and when I say minor selenium deficiencies, I just mean not white muscle disease. White muscle disease is worst case scenario for selenium deficiency. But the lower level selenium deficiency will manifest as other muscle related issues. Like the uterus is a giant muscle, right? And so goats may not have very effective contractions during labor. So it might take, might have longer labors. The other thing is that you might have kids that have trouble nursing at birth, and make sure they don't have hypothermia. Okay, a lot of kids, if they have hypothermia, the first thing to go is their ability to suck. So we're talking like your kid is nice and warm. You put your finger in its mouth. It's warm, not cold. And its tongue is like, instead of like a kid that has hypothermia is just like not even trying. But a kid that is selenium deficiency just can't use its tongue properly because that's a muscle, right? And the tongue is like going all over the place, and it's just can't. It even has trouble with a bottle. It just can't latch on properly because it can't use its tongue properly. So you want to make sure that your goats are getting a good loose mineral so that they don't have problems. So the other thing is, do you have selenium and antagonist in your well water? Sulfur is a selenium antagonist. So if you have sulfur in your well water, then you are more likely to need an additional selenium supplement than somebody who does not. So we had, and we do mineral panels on livers so that we legitimately know where our goats are. We don't just guess. So we need additional selenium because of the sulfur in our well water. However, for 20 years, somebody lived 4 miles down the road from me and they didn't need that because there was no sulfur in their well water. So they never needed to give their goats any additional selenium. They were fine, 4 miles away. So this is why I'm saying you don't necessarily have to do something just because your neighbor does it, because the conditions vary from one farm to another. So that's why I don't just give a blanket, so when somebody sends me that question, do you recommend that I give my goats BoSe before breeding or before kidding or whatever? I don't just write back and say yes or no. I need to know more, I need to know where you live. I need to know exactly what mineral you're using and what the selenium level is in that mineral, and make sure that it's a loose mineral, not a block. And also, have you ever seen any symptoms of selenium deficiency? Have you had any retained placentas? Do your goats tend to have longer labors? Do the kids have trouble nursing when it's not cold out and they don't have hypothermia? So if you've never, if you have no antagonist, there's no sulfur in your well water, if you're giving a really great mineral that's got 50 ppm selenium in it or more. I have also seen somebody shared one with me one time, had 60. I'm like, yay, that's great. Even better for most people. So all these things play in to whether or not your goats need BoSe. I hope that this has been helpful. And if you've got any questions, post in the comments below and we'll get back to you. Bye for